This is Lisa Tucker, host of The Book Cover, which showcases local literary personalities. So listen to The Book Cover on the borderline. And remember, don't judge a book by its cover. Hi, you're listening to The Borderline, and we are The Book Cover. I'm Lisa Tucker. Today I have on the show a Siouxite born and raised and now transplanted. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Lisa.
So Justin Towell, who you're also referred to as Justin Jack Bear. I believe that's your creative name, correct?
Yeah, a trade name I use is Jack Bear, and just for the record, I was actually born in Calgary, but I was raised in the Sioux.
Okay.
But I've reconnected recently with the people in Calgary, which has come full circle, which is big part of my story.
Wow.
I'm going to share.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, when I was doing my research in getting to see who you are now, because I knew you when you were a young man and now you're an old man. And, so I see director, writer, producer, social media strategist, life coach, all of these things. What led you now? Of course, our main point in talking today is your book, but in doing all these things, what led you to write your book?
Well, my body's telling me older, but I'm telling people I'm just getting wiser. So
I like that better.
I like that. Put a touch on that. But
Yep.
So I just I wrote a book. I just reconnected with some former coaches in Sault Ste. Marie over the years. I've had a lot of great mentors over the years. Being a high competitive athlete, we've had the privilege of being trained and taught by some of the best people in Sault Ste. Marie. So, just having that background alone, I've always been motivated and driven to pursue great things. And I realized later on when, we're too cool in our teens or 20s to finally get a life coach and a business mentor and those types of things back into my life. And it's inspired me to write this book and hopefully share some of the insights that I've learned and pass those along to anybody else who is maybe feeling stuck or wants some perspective or just wants a good, quick read.
Wow. Yeah, I like that because, as we go through life, sometimes you'll run into people and they'll give you a tidbit of wisdom. And of course, you don't retain everything that people tell you, but you'll get that tidbit from somebody that stays with you. And basically what you've done is you've written it all down for other people.
Yeah, I have to tell people and I encourage them to write their thoughts down. And, you can call it journaling or however you want to put it. But I essentially have probably, at one point, 60 or 70, 80 sticky notes all over my wall. And these were just bits of information, ideas, exactly what you're talking about, things that I wanted to keep in my mind, keep fresh and see every day that allowed me to stay positive and work towards goals.
Right. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I don't think as a teenager or young 20s, I don't think we're in the mindset to, first of all, you said, you didn't ask for help. You didn't ask for mentors. You didn't ask for life. We're not in the mindset because we're in the mindset like we're good, But I think once we get a little older, all those tidbits come back to us and we're okay. We're old enough and more mature enough and wise enough, as you said, to search out and to make ourselves better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you start to take on more responsibilities and, you have things to do to stay alive, it can be overwhelming for anybody. And so it's always to look back on, the educational years. And I honestly have to thank all my teachers I've had in the past in grade school and high school. I wasn't the greatest or most academic student, but I showed up as much as I could, and I always laugh and think back to how much of a kind of a joker I was back then, trying to make kids laugh during class and not get caught. But aside from all that I learned from great teachers and being able to participate in a community that supports athletes, especially. Yeah, it's full circle once you realize, all the fundamentals that you've created or learned along the way are things that you have to continue applying in order to be successful.
Right. So I haven't said the title of your book yet, which is my bad. It's called Your Purpose is Not Inside This Guide. It's just a guide to help you break through. So what is it helping you break through?
Yeah, so this is my first book that I wrote, and I actually wrote a second book, and that was published a few months ago, and it should have been in the opposite order. But the first book, called Your Purpose is Not Inside This Guide, it's just a guide to help you break through. Basically, what I talk about in this book, from my experience and perspective, I'm reiterating a lot of thought exercises. And basically, thought exercises are exactly what it is described. It's just things that you read that help you become aware of your thoughts. And that's one of the biggest fundamental things that I talk about in the book. And that's allowed me to measure my happiness based on our thoughts. We have about 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day, which is crazy. And 80% of those are either negative or repetitive. So there's thought exercises in this book that help give a different perspective on how we function from our day to day, our routine, how we have to create new habits in order to break old habits. And so it's just a lot of perspective thinking, and there are some exercises in there people can try and practice, and with instructions and tutorials, and maybe one of five will work, or maybe two of five, or maybe all five, but yeah, they're all in the book, and that's basically what it is.
Okay, so your first book was this one that we just talked about. Your Purpose is Not Inside This Guide, but then the one that was just released, it was that the How to Discover Your Passions, Purpose, and the Spirit of Success.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. Okay.
the second book I wrote, I realized that, through the last couple of years of mentorship and spiritual coaching and business mentoring, and all of the different teachers I've had along the way, I realized that it's possible that maybe some people just need a plain explanation or definition what certain words are. And a lot of times in our life, we're trying to figure out, what our passions are, what our purpose is. And, we can experience those needs of being valued or being appreciated in doing those types of things, passions and purpose. And it can happen in all stages of our life, where we're trying to rebuild ourselves, to recreate ourselves in order to grow, and grow with our kids, grow with our community, grow with the people around us.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm looking at the first book. Your Purpose is Not Inside This Book, and I'm looking I love that you were purposeful and mindful in everything in this book. It's not a table of contents; it's a table of success. I love that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the first one rings so important to me. So your first chapter, I guess you can say, is Value Your Time and Know Your Worth. I love this because, especially now, maybe not so much 20 years ago, but now there are more jobs than there are people. And if you are skilled, if you've got skills in A, B, or C, you've got to know your worth, and you've got to know that your time is money.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
It's critical, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Yep.
And then you talk about rewiring your brain to live your desired future and let go of the past. Explain explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So, the longer that we're in the same position, the longer we're doing the same jobs day in and day out, we can become the work can become monotonous, or we can get complacent. And so our brains, in the first 20 years of our life, or about the first 20 years of our life, we're already programmed. We've already experienced our creative development. But once we get into the workforce as an adult, we start to acquire skill sets. And these skill sets may may or may not lead us into other opportunities. But if you do it for a long enough period of time, and you can even break it down into weeks and months, that may be, you may feel like that you're only limited to what you know, and that's actually true. So, your brain has been conditioned, your subconscious has been conditioned day in and day out by the things that you say, the conversations that you have, the things that you read, the things that you talk about, the things that you do. So the accumulation of all of these things that happen on a daily basis, which add up over time, compounds over time, is essentially what your skill set and knowledge becomes. So if you're always doing the same thing, and you wake up and you hit the snooze alarm, and you get up and you get a coffee, and you're in a rush and it's 10 minutes to work, and you can do that for for a long time before you realize something's got to change, or maybe you develop a health problem, or it could actually be disruptive. Old habits can be very disruptive. So you want to be able to rewire your brain, and rewiring your brain is something I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza, which essentially describes and breaks down how you can become aware of your thoughts, and by pre-planning your next day the day before. I mean, it's all kind of simple ideas that we've probably been told as kids growing up, but it makes more sense once you get older.
Yeah, no kidding. But it's harder. I think the older we get and the more habitual we are, I think it's harder to step outside and sort of get out of that rut that we're in. Because now if you've only been doing the habits for 2 years, let's just say, your rut isn't that deep. But you go to 10 years now, you've been doing the same thing. That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough, especially, if you're not happy with your situation or your life. And one of the things that I learned that stuck out for me with my spiritual mentor, as he described it, was, happiness is not the purpose of life. And, you can ask anybody, what they want in life, and people will always tell you, well, I want to be happy. Or, I mean, that's probably 90% of the response. And what people fail to realize is that happiness is a fleeting moment. It comes and goes. Mm-hmm. And what we're actually seeking is peace. Yep. So, peace for me is more important than happiness, because it allows you to take the time necessary to think about your day to day, and the things that you want to achieve, and the things you want to pursue, or where you want to go, and conversations you want to have, and people you want to meet, and who you want to become. So, it's all that kind of tied into what it is you want, and who you want to be at the end of the day.
Right. It's a very mindful way of thinking, and it goes completely against the term go with the flow, because going with the flow is habitual, and you're creating that rut, and you're just going with it without being mindful. So I love that. So I'm going to skip to the 4th chapter. I loved the way you said this. Become what you believe. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I love that. Explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. This is a great chapter and a great topic. And, we are basically creatures of habit, but we're also primarily influenced by our environment. So, there's so many examples of how, the environment can either support or impede. Let's just say even the growth of a plant. You might have a plant that enjoys sun, and the other one enjoys shade. And, if you create the proper environment, you're going to get a plant that is alive and well. And it's the same with human beings. So, your environment directly correlates with your mood and how you feel, and, on day to day. And that can be very influential to how you pursue things or how you feel stuck. So, it's you spend time with people at work, and sometimes you spend time with people at work more than your family. And mm-hmm. So you're going to have the influence of those people around you. And, if those people are not talking about, self-development or growth or pursuing goals, or, creating opportunities for themselves, or just wanting more from their experience of life. Well, you only have one shot at this, so you want to surround yourself with people who inspire you to do things. And I always let people know is that these 5 people that you surround yourself with, who essentially are going to influence your ideas and your possibilities. And if they're negative, you'll be negative. If they're positive, you'll be positive. And so, those 5 people doesn't necessarily have to be anybody that you know in person. In fact, a couple of my top 5 people that I surround myself with are my virtual mentors and my spiritual mentors who are basically creating content through their social media or their multimedia platforms. And I'm tuning into them every single day because they're helping me better understand and understand how I'm thinking and how to get overcome obstacles and challenges. And so, I think life is tough as it is. So if you're feeling stuck and you can't overcome challenges or issues, there's always somebody out there who has done what you need to do, or they've done what you want to do. So you have to follow the people that are achieving the things that you want.
Yeah, I love that. And again, as we get older, I think we tend to cut the fat. We do away with the people that are the naysayers and the people who are negative and the boo-hooers and all that. I think as we get older, we cut the fat because we want to be surrounded, I think, by the people we want to become.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the beauty of technology that we never had in the past. You have the opportunity to access knowledge and successful people and groups and communities that may not be available in your personal neighborhood or within your home. So that's something that if there's things that you're interested in and you have passions and you have purpose and you're looking for people with those similar ideas, you have access to that now with cell phones and technology. It's one of the greatest educational tools that we can use to find our people who are going to be able to become our community and support the things we want to achieve.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. I tell people all the time, if you, I don't know, the furries, the people who dress up in animal costumes, if you want to join a group, it's going to be on Facebook. There are, you go to any social media platform, there are groups for whatever you're interested in. You want to become more positive? There's probably a positivity group out there. If you want, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you look and you find it. So in one of the last chapters of the book, in Your Purpose is Not Inside This Guide, you talk about 2 quick 10-second de-stress exercises. Are these something that you can talk to us about, or do they need to be shown?
Yeah, so if you're reading it, it can be a little tricky. On a podcast, even explain it may be a little bit tricky. There's some videos that you can find these online on YouTube if you really need a formal demonstration. But there's a couple of quick exercises that you can do, and some ideas surrounding the 2-minute breaks that we can take throughout the day to kind of regain our composure, our energy, if we need to. And one of those is a 30-second quick breath session, and essentially you just close your eyes and you inhale 3 quick breaths through the nose and exhale through the mouth, and you do that 10 times and just hold your breath on the last one. And what this does is it pumps oxygen into your blood, which creates more energy for your body. So it's a great way to kind of do it at breakthrough in the morning, or do it at lunch or the afternoon as well. And just try it out a couple of times a day actually, and it will help promote and stimulate cognitive functions. So you'll think more clearly, things will become more clear. So that's one way you can de-stress a bit too. Also, if you're feeling anxious or have anxiety, that's a great method to kind of slow down your thinking, and I use that one all the time.
I love that. And then you talk about you've listed 10 reasons to smile more, and this hits me because as a podcaster, if I'm talking about something exciting, and I'm smiling, even though nobody can see me, you can hear the smile come out my voice.
Yep.
And
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
right, and it's so important, and I just see your smiling boosts your immune system. Well, sir, I think I'm going to be smiling a lot more because especially with a, if everybody would smile, maybe COVID would beat it. Wouldn't that
Well,
be something?
we can certainly use more, this in our daily lives regardless, and I'm sure it would definitely help with the energy of how we feel day to day, and it will leave an impression on the people that we are spending our times with during the day, whether it's work or walking down the street or things like that. So, all these great things that smiling can do for your physical well-being is incredible, and it has the power to alter your moods and basically improve your uh, your yeah,
Demeanor.
it
Yeah.
improves your demeanor for sure. So it's a great way to keep things positive. It's a great way for people to draw people to you in a sense where you just want to be, there's a quote and it's a lengthy one, but essentially it's, the person who masters their daily life, people can't tell whether that person is at work or at play, because in his mind, he's doing both. And
Yeah.
so when you think about that and how, going to work sometimes is hard for people to do, and you just got to go through it and enjoy it as much as you can, and don't allow your mind or your body to think that these are things that are bad for you,
Hardships.
but you
Yeah.
have to trick your mind and let yourself believe
That's
that
right.
at the end of this day you're gonna have everything that you've been working hard for.
It reminds me, when we talk about smiling, it reminds me of the fish philosophy. Do you know? Do
I'm
you,
not sure.
okay, so the fish philosophy, it started out in the San Francisco, the West Coast fishmongers, and they have fun. They throw the fish back and forth. They're yelling at each other, not yelling in a mean way, but hey, what I mean, ready to catch this fish. And it's almost like they're playing, but they're working. And this is something that some of our city here departments have had people come in and talk about the fish philosophy. You can still be working, but have a good time while you're doing it.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, and that's a great way to put it. And I
Yeah.
think to just practice those on a daily, just with one other person that can think along the same lines as you, could help you get through a day.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And just because you hear laughter doesn't mean people aren't working. It just means they're having fun while they're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
See?
That's a
Yeah.
great way to live. Yeah.
I think I try to laugh as much as I can. But okay, so I'm going to put the book aside just for a second. I want to hear about the sacred defenders of the universe. Can you tell us what that's all about?
Sure, I'd love to share that with you. So a few years ago in 2018, I had an Indigenous entrepreneur reach out to me on LinkedIn, and at the time he had been given a business plan for rainwater harvesting. It was gifted to him through the John Molson School of Business in Montreal, and at the time he was looking for somebody to kind of mentor or give him ideas on what his business should look like or be like, and I was flattered. I had never met this who's now my good friend Earl Benally from the Dunaka Nation here in the Kootenays, and it took me a while to come around. It was during my mentorship with my life coach that I realized that I'm connected to Indigenous people as a Metis-Anishinaabe, Scottish, and English descent. So I have it in me to connect with the culture and the people. And I thought, what an amazing opportunity for me to build a new friendship. So when finally I reached out to him, he had all this amazing rainwater harvesting knowledge that you can't actually go to school for. There's no degree or certification in this type of trade, and it really sparked an idea and put some light onto the freshwater and availability of fresh water, and that's our number one resource that we have to be concerned of for the future. And still, First Nation communities are struggling to have access to clean drinking water. So to me, in my eyes, Earl was this kind of superhero that had all this knowledge on how to repurpose rainwater for multiple ways of uses. So I gifted him and I had an illustrator to create this character. His name was Aqueous. He was an Indigenous superhero, and I was trying to give him some advice that with his business he could educate people about what rainwater harvesting is through entertainment by having a character on the side of his van, and that would be your kind of your local or your mascot for your business. And we laughed about it actually a few times before we realized that there could be something here. And if there's a water superhero, then there must be the other three elements too. So we created fire, water, earth, and wind Indigenous superheroes that are here to remind us on Earth of the awareness of the destruction that we're causing, of just simply climate change, and how we can preserve and maintain people and environment, culture, and communities. So we ended up writing stories, and we wanted to create a comic book. We did some crowdfunding. We wanted to raise $5,000 for a comic book, and after 2 years of almost reaching our goal and our word getting out, and we got picked up by the Telespark Science Center in Calgary. Somebody there had heard about our Indigenous superheroes, and we wanted to create that, and so we actually were selected to create an immersive digital comic book graphic novel experience. And this was something that was not planned. It was way bigger of an idea than we had originally thought, just to have a comic book. And after about 9-10 months of a collaboration and production with literally dozens of Indigenous artists, illustrators, singers, elders with the Blackfoot community in the Cree and in Calgary, it was just this unbelievable experience to bring these ideas to life. And we debuted just this past March, and you can see it. It's an amazing experience. It's running until September. If you're ever in Calgary, you can check it out at Telespark Science Center.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that you thought of we're so entertainment based, I guess. And if you can find a way to, it's almost like giving a spoon of sugar with the medicine. You're the hero, and the comic book is the sugar, but the teachings and the point of it and the learning is the medicine. And I love that. And I love that people, tell us, foundations or organizations like Telespark are picking this up, because so important right now. So important.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So,
very important.
So when people go, so it's a digital immersive. What is that?
Digital immersive gallery is a room that is set up with interactive projectors and screens floor to ceiling, and the entire floor and all the walls 360 degree are lit up into this virtual story. And it's built as the first ever graphic novel comic book. And so you follow the characters and their journey in this immersive gallery. The fish swim away from you when you walk through the water on the floor, and the birds fly towards you when you reach another stage of the story. And it's a completely immersive environment that has a mind-blowing sound and music and storytelling that's just really incredible and unique.
Wow, that's amazing. Now I'm just looking. If for something like that, if you are in the Calgary area, you can get tickets online. Do you know offhand the website?
Offhand, yeah. If you go to the Telespark Science Center website, which I believe is,
I think it's just sparkscience.ca.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
exactly what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see it posted there.
Okay. I'll make sure, because that is awesome. I love that. Are you working on any new books?
I'm not working on any new books. I have a lot of ideas that I'm kind of flirting with. One of them recently, I had a conversation with my physiotherapist and RMT, and she was women's team Canada soccer player, football player, and we were kind of laughing about how we come across all these crazy opportunities to build ideas as former athletes. And we're always wondering, kind of, it's funny how that happens, or what kind of network of people are we surrounded by when we're going through these stages of life. And one of the things I mentioned to her, how is it that we can go after so many different opportunities and possibilities that maybe 9 out of 10 fail, and then one idea takes off. And the idea behind that was, as athletes, we lose and win, but mostly lose more times than the average person at anything else. So the ability to bounce back from a loss or a setback or a challenge, these are all fundamental things that you learn to accept as an athlete when you're involved with sports. So another great encouragement for parents to put their kids through sports regardless of the activity, because they're going to develop so many valuable life lessons and skill sets that's going to allow them to have these amazing opportunities later on in life.
100%. I've my youngest is a football player / basketball player / badminton player, and he's been doing that since he was 8 years old. And we had to become sports psychologists because kids, and I have to say millennials, they don't lose. They get participation trophies. And they're not taught how to lose. And in life, you lose sometimes. It's just a fact. And I love that coming from the sport, coming from your sports mind, because it's such, you can learn things while doing sports that you cannot learn just from regular life.
Yeah, and it's totally true, and it's a great point. And everybody participates at life, and there's no there's nothing that says that is easy in itself, but it's really the challenges in life. When you lose or you become, or you're second place, it's an experience that's humbling, and it helps you understand who you are as a person. And as if challenges aren't enough, you have to continue to pursue winning, right, in order to understand what it takes to achieve a goal.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think a lot of people will just quit.
Yeah, you can't wallow in the loss.
Yeah, and that's what separates the successful people in life, versus those who just settle for what they have.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so where are your books available for those who want to grab them?
Yeah, please check out Amazon.com or .ca. You can pick up both the books, Your Purpose Not Inside This Guide, and also How to Discover Your Passion's Purpose in the Spirit of Success. They're large print, really easy to read, great for quick travel trips, things like that. Don't be intimidated by it. It's written by an athlete, so it's not overly complicated or scientific, but it's great, and you can find them on Amazon. You can order them as a digital copy or a print.
Okay. Are any print copies available here in town, in Sault Ste. Marie?
You know what? I'm not entirely sure. I believe that Marnie Stone,
yes,
at Stone's Office Supply, she may have had some copies there. I have to coordinate with them again and my mom and see if there's any left, or if there was any.
Yeah, they would be at the Artesian now. She's got a whole there's a whole shop now that only has things in it from people from the Sioux. Books, music, art, pottery, wood, everything. So that's where it would go.
Amazing. So if there's need for more, we'll have to stock up.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to stock up on those because I'm not sure if we have any anymore. So yeah,
okay.
And your mom will be on top of that because she
is.
I would not want to mess with her, so she will be on top of that.
Awesome. That's great.
Justin Towell, Justin Jack Bear, thank you so much for being on our show. As someone who knew you as a young person, I'm going to take some pride. I'm very proud of all this stuff you've done. It's amazing. I hope you take some pride in yourself as well, and know that what you've done is awesome.
Very much so. I appreciate it. Thanks, Lisa, and Adrian, and everyone who helped to coordinate having this podcast created today. And it's been an honor to share this time with you guys, and to be able to talk about some of the things that I've created that hopefully will help someone else down the road, or at least inspire them to do just the same.
I love it. And the next time you've got something going on, let us know so we can share.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Justin Towell. You have been listening to The Book Cover. I'm Lisa Tucker on The Borderline. And remember, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of The Book Cover with Lisa Tucker, and it can be live or streaming at theborderline.ca. This is Justin Jack Bear, and I'm a former athlete, a writer, producer, creator, author. Have a book here on health, wealth, and happiness. Your purpose is not inside this guide. It's just a guide to help you break through. For anybody who feels stuck in their life, or has lacking motivation, or is struggling with breaking old habits, this is a great, quick, fun read. Super easy to help you become aware of your thoughts. And it's available on Amazon.ca. Just look up Justin Jack Bear.